In, in the Orchard by Midnight Quill. Rainbow Dash stood in Sweet Apple Acres, feeling the breeze as it blew around her. Applejack should have been coming back soon, but it wasn't like they were done yet. They had spent the entire morning together, Applejack doing her best to make Rainbow Dash give in. But Rainbow was determined. She was going to last all day, no matter how much Applejack bucked the daylights out of her. Out of the corner of her vision, she saw the orange-coated friend trot up from the farm. She had a determined look on her face as she stopped in front of Rainbow Dash.
All right, Buckaroo. I'm back to finish the job.
Applejack said with a sly grin on her face.
My break's over and I'm all refreshed to finish what I started.
Rainbow Dash didn't say a word and pretended to feel the breeze some more. Applejack ignored it and quickly trotted into position.
Now, I went easy on you earlier, but I ain't holding anything back now.
Rainbow Dash felt a small bit of fear gnaw at the edges of her excitement as she prepared for the farmer to begin. She had taken a lot from Applejack earlier this morning, and if Applejack said she had been taking it easy on her, then Rainbow Dash wasn't sure she could hold out for the rest of the day. Then again, she hadn't been sure if she could pull off a Sonic Rainbow during the Young Flyers competition, and she had done that perfectly. With that, she pushed the fear towards the back of her mind and replaced it with determination. She would last all day, even if it killed her.
Prepare yourself. I'm gonna make you come,
shouted Applejack. Then she started to masterfully and steadily ram her hooves into Rainbow. Pleasure erupted throughout her body as the farmer bucked the daylights out of her. She really wasn't sure if she had enough endurance left after this morning, but Rainbow was determined to outlast the Earth Pony, and nothing could destroy Rainbow Dash's determination to do the best. It went on for what felt like hours. She fought against the waves of bliss that coursed through her body as the farmer relentlessly continued. If Rainbow Dash didn't know any better, she would have sworn Applejack was starting to go faster and harder and faster and harder. The world started to black out as she felt the end of her endurance coming on quickly. It just wasn't fair. Applejack was far too good at bucking her. Even that wasn't enough. Applejack just wasn't good. She was the queen of bucking. Right when Rainbow thought she was going to have to give in, Applejack stopped. Rainbow let out a sigh of relief as the Earth Pony looked at Rainbow with a glint in her eyes.
Y'all sure are a stubborn one, ain't ya?
She panted. Rainbow smiled triumphantly back at her friend.
Well, don't think this is gonna stop me from making you come. If one apple can't get the job done, we'll just get another to finish.
Right as she spoke, Big Mac strode into view. His normally static expression was curved upwards, betraying his enthusiasm.
This is the one,
Applejack said cheerfully.
Don't worry about being soft with her. She's been stubbornly hanging on all day.
She trotted to a small distance away from before sitting down to watch.
Do whatever you have to make her come,
she said with a smile. Rainbow looked on in shock as Big Mac positioned himself where Applejack had previously been. This wasn't what she had in mind when she started all of this. It was supposed to be just her and Applejack, every day in the fields. But now, her brother was jumping in and ruining it. Rainbow couldn't help but flinch as he noticed how the large farmer's muscles bulged with inner strength and vitality. Applejack was strong and fit, but nothing compared to the Goliath that Big Mac was.
Ready to start, Mac?
Applejack called out. Yup, Big Mac called out eagerly. Before Rainbow could protest, Big Mac slammed into her. She tried to cry out in pain as the stallion pounded into her, but she could only let out a groan. Once the initial pain faded, pleasure replaced it. Not like the pleasure Applejack gave her earlier, but the bliss magnified tenfold. She could feel the strength and raw power of Big Mac with every pound. Where the pleasure Applejack gave her came in waves, Big Mac's came in tsunamis. If Applejack was the queen of bucking, Big Mac was a bucking god. She was in absolute ecstasy. The soreness and weariness from her and Applejack's session was long gone and forgotten. All thoughts were wiped away as the feeling of Big Mac's pounding into her consumed her consciousness. After another eternity passed in a blink of an eye, and the stallion stopped. In front of him sat a large red apple. He let out a content sigh and picked it up and placed it in a barrel filled with other apples.
Thanks for the help, Mac.
Applejack laughed.
I've been trying to get that sucker down from the tree all morning. If I didn't know any better, I would think it wanted to hold on to the last moment.
The two farmers collected the full barrels of apples and left Rainbow Dash alone in the orchard. She sighed contentedly and shook out her leaves. Noticing that the sun was still a hoof off of the horizon, she let out an irritated groan. If Applejack hadn't cheated and gotten Big Mac to help her, she knew she could have made it until sunset.
Oh well.
Rainbow thought.
There's always next year.
The sound of crunching grass caught her attention, and she noticed there was a pony standing about 10 feet from her. The timid Pegasus there was standing tall and glaring at her childhood tree friend.
I don't know how you did it, but I will be a tree myself someday,
She stated firmly in a loud whisper. With that, she turned and flew off. The end.